Angel cried, oh, she cried.
New at 5, a look inside Jersey Boys, the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
The Lexington Theatre Company's production opens Thursday, and we got a look behind the scenes and behind the music.
A truly fascinating story that covers a pretty fair expanse of time.
Hold it! What's your name?
For John Leone, Jersey Boys is a story that he knows well.
That is ultimately about a family. The four guys are brothers and their extended families, and then the sort of father figure that they happen to have.
Four felons?
He was in the original Broadway production about the lives of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Now he's stepping into a different role.
Full-time played one of the Four Seasons, so this was a part that I understudied at the time. But I was a little young for it then. Now I'm the right age. I don't need any age makeup. It's right there.
And he's phenomenal in the show. He's just a treat to work with.
Lindy Franklin Smith returned home from her own Broadway career and co-founded the Lexington Theatre Company nearly a decade ago.
Hi, we're the Four Lovers. We sent you a demo.
It brings musicals to stage, bringing together local talent, students, rising stars, and Broadway veterans like Leone.
He has the most incredible stories. He was there in the room putting it together in the beginning. And so just to have his insight and the incredible stories that he has for us on the team and for the cast, it's just so wonderful.
This is one of those that's really special to me, because when I moved to New York, this was happening. And so I remember the first time I think I saw it probably close to 10 times.
Just like Leone, the production's director and choreographer also has a special connection to Jersey Boys.
Because it was the first time that I realized how easily and simply and beautifully you can tell stories through music in the theater.
While Leone will be on stage this time in a different role.
Real life gangster, and he was, they didn't even change my character's name. Jim DiCarlo really did run New Jersey, and he was a tough guy, but he really was like a father figure to them.
It's still a familiar one.
There's a story that tells the trajectory of these guys' lives and the sacrifices that they made and the highs and the lows that they experienced. I think that's what makes it a really great musical.
And performances of Jersey Boys begin Thursday and run through Sunday at the Lexington Opera House. There are also matinees on both Saturday and Sunday afternoons. For tickets, go to lexingtontheatrecompany.org.